Welcome back. Chase Delauter, in his first game back off the break, had the big hit that tied the game in the 8th inning. What an 8th inning that was. And we kind of got a up-close personal look in game 1 of his return of what we were missing from him. What'd you guys make of it? I know it's just one game, but how big is his return to this lineup right now?
It's huge. I mean, they need guys who can. First of all, they need guys who can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
And that's certainly him. I know he's only got 7, and he's cool after that hot start, but he's a threat every time he steps into the box. And what was so big about the at-bat yesterday is, he follows Bazzana. Bazzana has a weak infield pop-up with a chance to deliver, and now there's 2 outs, and now you feel deflated like the inning's over, and then Delauter comes back with a huge 2-out hit that gives him the lead. So it was a... I guess they give him the lead or tied now. I don't remember now.
I think it tied it.
Yeah, it tied it. So it lengthens the lineup. It gives them another bat you can count on in a lineup where you just don't have a lot. I mean, this lineup goes to die after about the 5 hole.
Yeah, it does. Real quick.
So just adding one more piece that lengthens this out, that extends it out.
Yeah.
It's huge. What are your second half expectations? More of the same. More of what we've seen from him. I think he's a franchise fixture. Probably hit 15, 20 home runs. And, I think he's looking like a guy who gets streaky on the home run, and that's not uncommon for young guys. They're going to get hot. They're going to hit 3 or 4 in a row, and then they may cool off again for a little bit.
What do you have, 5 in the first 4 games or something like that?
We were building the statue in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've tempered expectations there. I think yesterday was a big moment. He's back in the lineup. The lineup's screaming for any help, and he delivers. And it's like, you need this guy. So I have more of a question on this than a take for you guys. Like, because of the injury history, do we overplay that? Are we on pins and needles with tempering our expectations?
I think they were. I would say, overly cautious with his return.
Yeah, which is fair. It's still June.
Yeah, because when you have a history of something, there's always going to be that fear, whether it's in the front of the mind or the back of the mind, that it's going to happen again. And I don't blame them for this. I mean, I think the timing of it was horrible because you lost 3 of your top OPS guys in one day.
Right.
That I don't know how often that happens, but I can't remember it happening. So I'm glad to see that he's back. I do think that they were probably a little overly cautious, but hell, Jay, at where the Guardians are, the last thing that they want is to hear that he's out long term.
Right.
Because that plays into the narrative that we've all been thinking about.
And again, you have time. It's June. Nobody's running away with this division.
Right.
Sit him, let him get healthy. The injury thing's always going to be concerned with him. I don't think he's ever going to be a guy that you pencil into the outfield 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You don't want to pigeonhole a guy as a DH this early in his career, but that's the best place to keep him healthy and safe.
Yeah.
So we talked about it before. I think he's a guy who's going to play a couple days in the outfield. He's going to DH a couple days, and you're going to do everything you can to try and take some of the wear and tear off of him.
I think high expectations are fair. I mean, they brought this guy up to debut in the playoffs. Some of that was necessity, right? I think it goes back to our first hour conversation. Most rookies are not swinging 3-0, but they gave him the green light, right?
Yeah.
So with Chase Delauter, you're expecting this guy to hit and needing him to hit. So, yeah, if he can finish this season with 15, 20, I think you expect more going forward. But right now, the Guardians are good enough to make a run.
I'd take 15.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're at the halfway point. I know he's missed a lot of games, but we're at the halfway point. If he can somehow scratch and claw his way to 15, I think that really what this season has turned into more than anything else is, okay, how well can you tread water without your best swimmers? With Hosey being out, and I know that you say that you expect and you want them and they should make a run at it and trade some pieces. I like doing that if the next 3 to 4 weeks were 8 to 10 games over 500, not 4 games over 500. If all we're doing is playing 500 baseball, and I know it's a weak American League and you take your chances with the pitching you have, but we've played that movie before. And when we get to the playoffs, we know that our pitching's really good. But if we give up 2, you got to score 3. And in the playoffs, that's not been our history because you're also facing really good pitching on the other side. So I don't want to see us sell the farm. I know you mentioned that perhaps Engel's future is with another team. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I look at Tampa Bay's lineup sometimes and I'm like, oh, geez, wouldn't that be nice to have that in Cleveland's? I don't want to give away that piece that We don't know yet what they're going to be. In a year where, yeah, we could win the Central, and yeah, maybe we could get crazy hot and make a run and go to the World Series, but there are 6 teams in the National League that I don't think we stand a chance against.
I don't know. You don't have to be one of them. You never know what injuries goes like. The American League is wide open. Wide open.
I get that. I totally understand.
Now is the year to go for it.
I just think that the gap between the top National League teams and the Guardians is massive.
We thought that in the NBA 4 weeks ago, too.
Yeah. Well, I think the NBA is a little different. I do.
Yeah, you're right.
You've got 5 players, and if you have one that just stands up and has a unbelievable run, it's kind of like hockey. You get a hot goalie, and you can ride it all the way to the cup.
Right.
Baseball isn't like that. Right now the strength of this team is our pitching, and I'm worried about Williams. Williams had high traffic in every inning yesterday against a team that can't hit, and this is now a string of starts where he's been less than Gavin Williams like. That's very concerning to me.
It is.
Jay, real quick, sorry, before we get on to Gavin Williams, if you're not willing to trade Cooper Ingo, not want to part ways with some of the top guys, which prospects would you be willing to part ways with?
Well, to me, I said this Friday, Velasquez is the guy that's off limits to me. I wouldn't say that Engel's off limits. I wouldn't say Delauter's off limits. It just depends on what the haul is, what you're getting. I would like it to be not a rent-a player. I don't want to lose one of these guys with, that's 22, 23 years old with a lot of upside. I don't want to lose them forever for a guy that might help us make a run in the American League and then get trounced in the World Series.
But I think we see it differently. I think if they win the AL, that's great success, and I think they have to look and see this is our opportunity. I'm not sure when that is.
Yeah, we do see it differently, and I think maybe age and perspective has something to do with that. I'm not saying because I'm 61 next week that I have all this wisdom. I'm saying I'm running out of years, and so I want to see one before I go.
So you should be more prone to...
Well, I know I should be, but I think this leans to I'm a fiscal conservative. I play everything close to the vest. I'm not one to say, let it all ride on red, baby. Let's go.
No.
Because I think about the losses and, the almost was. We've had a lot of almost was. And those hurt, man. Those really hurt.
I don't know when we're going to see baseball again after October.
And that's a really fair point.
So
But guess what? We're not going to go 2 years without baseball.
No, but
I think our worst case scenario is we don't have 2027.
If they don't go for it now, I don't know when they ever would. It's all right in front of them.
I also maybe, and this is maybe this is false hope, and I shouldn't be there, but I also know that we're at the end of the Dolan string, and from what I know about David Blitzer and his group, he's not going to sit on hands. He's not going to stand pat. He's never going to tell the media, hey, man, when you get a guy off the injured list, it's like you made a trade. No, it's not. So I think that this is more of a guy that is going to say, hey, let's make a roll at this. Let's make a run. And he's going to be more than 29th in the league in payroll or whatever we are right now. I think we're 28th to 29th. So I have a hope that there is cavalry. It's just over the mountains.
Yeah.
And when that cavalry gets here, I think they're going to give the team the weapons that they need to get over the hump. We know we've got great minds in the front office. What we don't have is a checkbook. And that's one of the things that you have to make a deep, serious run.
Yeah, they have to go for it now. They have to.
All right.
There's
levels of go for it.
What if you watch Chase Delauter go to Baltimore and becomes a perennial all-star for 10 years?
Well, what is Baltimore going to give them?
Listen, I just picked Baltimore.
No, I know, but I'm saying
I picked them clearly.
What's the return, right?
Yeah.
It would take quite a bit to get Delauter off of this team, but I think when you look at the minors, I think that they have a lot of pieces that. The shortstop, where's he going to play? Angel Hino.
Yeah, I know. Where's
he going to play?
Yeah.
So that's Cooper Ingo. Where's he going to play?
I miss the good old days, and not just because of this reason. There's a lot of other reasons, but I'm not in with today's style of setting a lineup. It looks different every day, and I just like the '95 tribe when you could fall out of bed with a hangover and fill out that lineup, and it, for the most part, didn't change. And the first baseman was the first baseman, whether a lefty was pitching or a righty was pitching. Learn to hit both sides, learn to make it work. And this lineup is so mix and match. I would love to know how many different starting lineups the Guardians have used this year.
It's out there. That answers
20?
readily available. Probably more than that.
More than that,
I
for
mean,
sure.
I mean, that means that every third day, if it's 28, every third day you're putting a different look out there. And I know we don't have the luxury of having stalwarts at every position where, like, we know Hosey's going to be at third unless it's a day of rest. But, like, outside of that, take your pick.
Well, I think we talked about this before. It'd be funny to see the 95 lineup today. Albert Bell probably hit second.
With today's analytics,
He'd
he
hit
probably
second.
would.
Yeah.
You're right. He probably
Kenny
would.
would probably still stay as the leadoff hitter. He's a terrific leadoff hitter.
Yeah, you're not going to move him out of there.
Omar would bat ninth. I don't know who'd be cleanup.
Where would Manny go? Where would Tommy go? Like,
They were so young in their careers.
Manny was hitting 8.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, Sorrento was 8th, wasn't he? It was
but there was a time where Manny was the 8th
Tommy,
hitter.
Manny.
And, like,
Sorrento was 8 and Alomar was 9.
now I've looked almost every day, our 7, 8, 9, all of them are under 200. And there's mostly around 177, 189, 188. That to me, can you imagine Mike Hargrove being handed that lineup? Suddenly you're not such a great manager when you've got.
Teams look at batting average differently today than they did.
Look at the OPS.
30
I think
years
we're last in
ago.
OPS.
OPS is, I think, a more telling indicator.
It is,
of
but I
where
think
you're
we're 30th in OPS, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll double check again, but last time we did this exercise, the Guardians were dead last in the American League in OPS.
In OPS.
And so for that reason, it's really hard for me to say, hey, we can win this thing.
The Guardians
I don't think you're winning
are
it with the 30
15th out of
OPS.
15th.
What's
The
that?
Mariners are 20 points higher. They're 14th.
Jeez.
Wow, that's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, 676 for the Guards, 695 for the Mariners,
And
697
why-
for the Red Sox, and everything else is over.
Now, I know if you make a trade and you bring in bigger bats, that OPS shoots up all of a sudden. But I don't know that in a year where you look at everything, we're 44 and 40, and we have the dead last OPS in baseball. I don't know if that's the club that you want to suddenly become Trader Jack and just start making move after move to try to get there.
But you're 44 and 40, and you're flawed, and you're 3.5 games from being the 1 seed. Like it's open.
Is that what it is? They're
Yes.
3.5 from being the 1 seed.
The Rays and the Yankees
because the
both
Yanks
have
got swept.
48
didn't they?
wins.
Yanks got swept by
Swept by the
Boston.
Red Sox.
That was a great game. I watched it last night.
This is really
And Judge is out for the next.
Yeah. So
However
maybe,
long.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
The road is there. Jason Lloyd is on the road, and the cops can't catch him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
If you
I
pass
got
the
one
cops,
super
speed
That-
up.
Great parental advice.